Hey there, online students. This is Mr. Gish. I wanted to do a little overview of Chapter 1 in the semester. So just 3 short slides, real short video for you. But let's talk about it. So first of all, what is statistics? What are we trying to do in this course? And what do we want you to get walk away from this course with? So well, there's kind of 2 branches of statistics. So one branch is called descriptive statistics. So that's where you want to describe your data. And you can describe data with tables, charts, but then you could also use things like averages, like mean. You could use median, mode, standard deviation, quartiles, all sorts of things. Just any way to summarize and describe your data. That's a descriptive statistic. And that's what we will cover in chapters 2 and 3 in this book. Now, later on, we are going to use inferencing, and that is the other part of statistics, so inferential statistics. So that's when you take a sample, and then based upon that sample, you describe the sample and get some summaries and whatnot. And you're going to use that information to then infer or make an educated guess about the entire population. So this inferential statistics is what we'll do in chapters 7 through 12. Okay? And then to kind of bridge the 2 together, to move us from descriptive to inferential statistics, we'll get some background and learn some techniques, and that will be chapters 4 through 6. And then to do all this, though, you have to take samples. And so to take a sample, we got to talk about that. And so that's actually what chapter 1 is about, is taking samples and just different ways to do that and set that up. All right, so that is the semester for us. Now, real quick, let's just end with this from chapter 1. Kind of one of the biggest key takeaways is if you can get the data from the entire population, which is the entire group you want to study, then you should do it. And when you do that and you summarize that entire population of data, that's called a parameter. So if I could get, let's say DMAC is my population. If I grabbed everybody at DMAC, all students at DMAC, I could figure out the average age of a student, and then that average age would be a parameter. And by the way, we can do that pretty easily. You're all in a database. We know your ages, and no problem. But maybe a little more challenging is maybe I want to know the favorite color, I don't know, of students at DMAC, right? Now that's challenging because I don't have that in a database, so I'd have to ask you. And I don't have the time and money to ask every student at DMAC. So then we would take a sample. So a sample is just some smaller subgroup of the entire group. So a smaller subset of the entire population. And when I get that sample, then when I summarize the sample, that is called a statistic, right? So like the average age from a sample would be a statistic. Excuse me. If I get like the median, that's a statistic, etc., etc. All right. Now it's nice because population, when you summarize it, it's a parameter. Sample, when you summarize it, it's a statistic. So the letters match up. Now, sampling is what chapter 1's kind of about. And so as you read through chapter 1 and go through all that, you'll see some different sampling techniques and how to set up experiments and some different things there. But the number one most important thing about a sample is that it is representative. Because again, we want to take this sample, summarize it, and then make an educated guess about the population. And if we're going to do that, this sample should represent or look like the entire population. So the number one most important thing is representation. And as long as you've achieved that, you have a good sample. Okay, so samples don't need to be massive necessarily. They just need to be representative. So 50 people is good enough to represent your whole population, then that's all you need is 50. Now, if you can afford to sample more, then do it. But sometimes you don't want to or you can't afford to. So anyhow, those are kind of the big key things as we open up the chapter 1 and start the semester off. And so thought this little video would be a nice little help to get you on the right path.